episode of Science from My Kitchen with Miss Winslow. I'm super excited to be with you again today. We have a super fun activity. This is not going to be an experiment that shows your results right away, like last week's did. This one may take a couple days, it may take a few weeks. It all depends on the lighting and where you have your sprout house put. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to put your sprout house together. I sent you all the materials you should need with the exception of scissors and some tape. Everything else you should have found in your packet. So why don't you grab your materials, we'll walk through what you need, and we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so you're going to need the papers that I sent you. This one was on top when I sent it. And then there's a journal and your actual sprout house. So you're going to need those. You're also going to need the 6 cotton balls that are in there. I ran out of cotton balls, so I'm using cotton rounds. They're the same thing. They'll work the same way. You're going to need 6 seeds. I sent seeds in there. You should have 5 or 6 seeds. They should look like this. These are bean seeds. Whoops, I dropped one. These are bean seeds. They are straight green bean seeds. So if you planted them afterwards, you could maybe grow some straight beans, some regular green beans. And you also need a plastic baggie. You're also going to need, like I said, some tape, a pair of scissors, and you're going to need a little bowl that you can soak your beans in. If you look real close there, you can see I have some beans soaking in this little bowl of water. So a little bowl with water, your beans in it to soak, scissors, tape, the paperwork, cotton balls, your seeds, and a baggie. So if you go ahead and grab those, we will get started with this week's episode of Science from My Kitchen. We're going to get started. So we're just going to go through these steps together. Some of them I will expound a little more and give you a little more detail on what it says. So we're going to start with step 1. So step 1 says to fill a bowl with water and to soak your beans overnight. So I have my beans here soaked, ready to go. So if you want, you can stop right here and come back after you let your beans soak, or you can prep the rest of your stuff and you can just add your beans in later. It's up to you. So I'm going to keep going through with the steps, but like I said, if you want to stop here, soak your beans, and then come watch later to go through, you can. So step 1 is to put your beans in water and soak them overnight. Mine have been soaking since, they've been soaking for probably 10 hours right now. So they're probably ready to go. If you don't soak your beans, if you just soak them for a few minutes, a few hours, that'll work as well. It'll just take it longer to start sprouting. This is just to soften the outer coating on the bean. So step 1 is to put your beans in water to soak them. Step 2, you're going to need your 6 cotton balls. Like I said before, I'm using cotton rounds. Same thing, we just need something to hold the water. So I'm going to take and I'm going to get these wet and I'm going to wring them out. You don't want them dripping, you just want them to have enough water in them. So I'm going to turn and get each of these wet and then we'll continue. So step 2 is to soak your cotton balls, wring them out so they're not dripping, and then we're going to add them to the bag. Alright, so my cotton balls or cotton rounds are now wet. You can see they're just kind of hanging out with water. They're not dripping. You might see some water dripping off my hand. Use my dry hand. But they're just holding the water. They're not dripping off. So that's how you want your cotton balls to be. Just so they're holding the water, not dripping. Now, we are going to go ahead and slide these cotton balls into our bag. So I'm going to open it up nice and wide. And if you just drop them in, get them down in there. Make sure they're covering the whole bottom. Mine kind of overlap a little bit, but that's the end of this step. So put your cotton balls into the bag, and that's the end of step 2. Alright, step 3. We are going to take our beans. If you're choosing to soak your beans, you're going to take them out of the water. If you chose to just put them in dry, that's perfectly fine as well. So I'm just going to take and I'm going to drop my beans into the bag. It doesn't really matter where they go. Just try not to get them right on top of each other. Try to spread them out across. So just drop them in. If they fall down to the bottom, it's okay. If they sit on a cotton ball, that's okay as well. So we're working on step 3 right now. We are putting our beans into our bag. Oh, no, come out. Alright, so I have one bean that's sitting on top of another here. So I'm just going to move it to this side. There we go. Alright, so now all my beans are in here. They're sitting on the cotton balls. That's all we want. We just want them to be in there so they're sitting, getting some water from and moisture from those cotton balls. So this is the end of your bag. Your bag is now prepped. So to close your bag up, if you just take and press it just a little bit, just to get some of the air out. You don't want it to be blown up. You want it to be pretty flat. So it should look like this, not puffed up except for right here at the bottom. That is the end of this step. Now, our next step, we are going to prep your sprout house. So, oh, it's over here. So, I'm not sure, but I believe this is on regular paper. I think we missed it when it says to do it on cardstock. No worries, it'll work the same way. So, just do the paper, it'll be fine. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut this box out. We want to cut that box out, and if you want to cut out the house, you can go ahead and do that. So right now, if you haven't done it already, go ahead and cut your house out, and then cut the square out in the middle. What it should look like. Alright, after that is cut out, if you want to pause right here so you can finish cutting out, that's fine. Alright, so the next step, step 5. We're going to take this and we're going to lay it so the words, my little sprout house, are on your counter or table, wherever you're doing this. So I'm going to put it down so it's face down, so the white side is sticking up. Then I'm going to take my sprout house, or my baggie. You might have to dry this off. Mine's a little wet, so you might have to dry it off. Make sure it's nice and dry because you want the tape to stick to it. So dry it off. There we go. And now we're going to take this and we're going to place it right in here. So I'm going to pick this up to show you. You want the zipper to be above so you have a good place to secure it with the tape. So put the zipper up here above. I have about probably like a 1/4 of an inch above. My bag is just touching the bottom. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to. You want it to stay so it doesn't come through, but just let it touch the bottom barely there. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and tape this down. So all I have is packaging tape at home. We don't have any regular Scotch tape. So I'm going to use this. If this is all you have, that's perfectly fine. If all you have is duct tape, that'll work as well. It's just to secure it to, or even masking tape. It's just to secure it to the bag. So I'm going to put a couple across the top. So there I have a couple on the top, and that honestly is enough. You don't have to put any more, just enough to hold it from coming off. So you can see that it's pretty tight there. You might have to check your tape as you do this, or as it hangs in the window, because if it gets hot, the tape melts off, things like that, depending on the tape that you use. So just make sure it's nice and secure. I'm actually going to put one more in the middle just to be safe. There we go. It's taped all the way across. If you want to put one piece down here and one here, that's fine. Just don't put it down here. Alright, and that is your sprout house. So now, we're going to take this and you're going to find the most sunniest window in your house. And you're going to tape this right in your window. So if this was my window and you are outside, I'm taping it right in my window. Alright guys, well I totally forgot that in my mom's sewing room we have our garden started. So here is our garden that started. You can see we have some stuff sprouting up. I'm not even sure what's sprouting here. Let's see. So we have some watermelon, some sunflowers, some zucchini, and some beans. So this is our garden started. This end is kind of not going as fast, so we put this over here to kind of trap some more sunlight and heat in there. So, but I thought, why not put our sprout house in the window with the rest of the garden? So I'm going to put this in the window. I'm just going to tape it up. You can see I just put a piece of tape up on the top there. So all you got to do is tape it in the window. And your sprout house is good to go. It's in the window. It's getting sunlight. Oh, there's my dog outside. Getting sunlight. And it'll start to grow, start to germinate. If you think back to the life cycle of a plant unit that we covered, think about the steps, what happened, think about what the seeds needed in order for them to grow, all of that stuff. So this lesson, or this sprout house activity, is kind of going to show us that process. It's going to show us we have the seed, and it's going to show us the next steps. I'm not going to tell you the next steps, because if you draw a picture of the life cycle of a seed and send it to me, that's your extra dojo point for this science lesson. So think about the steps and the cycle that seeds go through and plants go through, the life cycle of a plant. Send me a drawing of that that's new, not the one we did together if you still have that, but a new one, and I'll give you your extra dojo point.